Everyone, the webinar is now open and we are just waiting for all of our parents and carers to join. We will start very shortly. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers and people behind the scenes assisting this evening. This is a very timely webinar for us in National Carers Week because many students are looking at subject selection this term. Well, welcome everyone. It's 7 o'clock. My name is Liga Hegner. I will be facilitating the webinar this evening. I sit on the P&C Federation board and I am the elected representative for all P&C associations in the Northwest region of Sydney. In the spirit of reconciliation, P&C Federation acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connection to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. I'm speaking to you tonight from Darugland. We're here tonight to discuss a topic that's particularly significant for our high school students, planning for what happens after school. Vocational education and training, also known as VET, offers huge opportunities for our young people with practical skills and knowledge essential for the changes happening across all industries. The demand for skilled workers has never been higher, and VET subjects serve as a bridge between schools and the workforce. This evening, we have experts from the Australian Industry Group, the Department of Education, and as a very special guest, a recent student, Jade Barrington, who is a New South Wales Training Awards Ambassador and 2022 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Student of the Year. Our speakers will be addressing the tricky questions around vocational education, showing us what is possible. First up, we'll have Brett Crossley, Research and Policy Officer at Australian Industry Group. Brett contributes to ongoing research and policy development projects. He's going to be sharing his insights from recent research in exploring young Australians' pathways from education and training into work. We will then have Michael Clancy, Leader Vocational Education, New South Wales Department of Education, covering technical aspects of VET, followed by Jared Delaney, Leader and Workplace Learning, New South Wales Department of Education, who will be speaking on careers. And finally, from the Department of Education, we will have Robin Pemberton, Leader Pathways Vocational Education, presenting Parer and Carer resources. Our special guest is Jade Barrington, the New South Wales Training Awards Ambassador and 2022 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Student of the Year, and will share some of her own stories where VET subjects have taken her. Then we will turn to our Q&A and answer as many of your questions as we have time for. Just by way of housekeeping, please add your questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen throughout the session. We will be monitoring the Q&A for participant questions. Staff from P&C Federation and New South Wales Department of Education are here tonight behind the scenes to assist. They will view and manage your questions. Questions will not be visible to other attendees. We're recording tonight's webinar and we'll be sharing the recording with everyone who registered in the next few days. If you would like to activate live transcript for this webinar, to the icon at the bottom of your screen, click on Enable Audio Auto Transcription. Before we start, we have a short video from our friends across the beach that I think some parents might relate to. Following that, we will hear from Brett Crossley.
We kind of knew, didn't we?
Well, we knew something was up.
I've got something to tell you. What's that, son? Well, I want to be a tradie. Yeah, it's a shock. To be honest, I don't know where we went wrong. It was obvious when you look back. Sorry. We should have seen the signs.
It's probably just a phase.
It's not a phase, Mum. It's a career.
I wanted him to follow me into a profession, something that's more traditional. Why can't you be more like Sarah?
What, 30, living with her parents?
I'm 31.
At least she's got a qualification.
Yeah, well, I'll have a qualification. I just won't have the debt.
I enjoy my life, working in accounts, and we have a lot of laughs in the office, obviously. And who's Philip?
It's a screwdriver, Dad.
Right.
All right, sorry about the delay there. Hope everyone can see those slides. So today my name's Brett and I'm from the Australian Industry Group, and I'm going to be walking through some research we did last year. But before that, I'll just run through quickly who we are. We're Australian Industry Group and I'm part of the Centre for Education and Training, and we do research and we also do pilot projects and we do a bunch of different things in the policy space to help make sure the education and training system is fit for purpose and delivers for the needs of our members. And last year we did a large piece of research where we looked at the pathways young people take after leaving school. So it's quite relevant to everyone here today. And we looked at the outcomes they experience. So we looked at various factors, and what we did was we used LSAT data. So this is government collected data. And the first cohort they studied was in 2009. So what they did was they sat down with 14,000, a little over 14,000 young people and their parents at the age of 15 in 2009. And they took a reading of things like what the languages they spoke at home, their just general family background and the things they were studying at the time. And then they followed that up again into the 2019. So of that group that they had originally studied, the 14,000, they looked at then 2,933 at the age of 25. So that's the sample I'm going to be talking and walking us through today. And in this sample, we looked at their outcomes, as I mentioned before, and the types of training, education training they took up to 25 years of age. And just some headline notes that I'll cover off on, and you'll see throughout the conversation tonight and through this presentation, is that postgraduate degrees and those who had completed apprenticeships and traineeships at 25 were some of the strongest outcomes we saw in this sample. So at 25, nearly half of the young people that we studied had completed a bachelor's degree. So that includes so 36% had their highest level completed was a bachelor's degree, and 11% was postgraduates. So that's how we got to that 47% number. And then just over a third went through the VET system, and that's where the conversation we'll be having today. And this is the sample we had. So this is just a rough idea of some of the outcomes and the kinds of pathways young people are taking at 25 through to 25 years of age. So this is the highest level achieved at 25. Doesn't mean they don't go on to do further study or go up higher levels. It's just at 25, this is the snapshot. So the first thing we looked at is, so you've done this education and training, but what does it mean? And so that's what we're going to unpack from here on out. So are you employed at 25? And if you are, what education and training pathway did you take? So you can see here, so this first blue bar shows you the people that are employed. So those who had completed an apprenticeship or traineeship at 25 were most likely to be employed. So 96% of them are employed. You'll see there a small percentage, the grey bar means unemployed. And so unemployed means you're looking for work, but you haven't managed to find that job. And then that light grey bar, that third bar there on the far right, is not in the labour force. And that's an economics term, and that just means you're not looking for work, nor are you employed. You're just not actively seeking, but we still know what pathway they took in terms of education and training. So you can see there's someone with a postgraduate degree, 94% of them are employed, and there's still some strong outcomes there for bachelor's degrees, diplomas, and even someone who doesn't study after high school by 25. There's still opportunities out there. But we did notice that someone who'd studied and completed a certificate, there was a bit of difficulty finding that job, and 15% of them were still looking for work, at least in the sample at 25. The other thing we looked at is skill match. So skill match sounds simple, but it's a little bit complicated, but I'll try and make it as easy as possible to understand, and there's a bit to digest here. But when you go and learn and you participate in an education training system, you go to uni or you go to vet, you're acquiring a skill level. And the government and the Department of Statistics, they all look at what skill level you've studied. And they also then categorize jobs based on the title, and that also has a skill level. And so what we tried to do here is we tried to match what skill level did I study, and does that match up with the job I've got? So am I working in a job that needs the studying I completed? And so ideally, we all go and do education training, we all acquire skills, and ideally the best outcomes, as we'll come to later, and in terms of happiness and satisfaction with your work and your life, is if your ability to apply those skills in your job. And so here, this blue bar shows you, this is what I studied, and my job that I've now got matches. So I've made that perfect match. So someone with a postgraduate degree has a really strong outcome. 81% of those who have finished postgraduate degree are working in a job that needs a postgraduate degree. And there's a bit of an outlier there, that one at the top, high school certificate. Those people who've only got a high school certificate, or they haven't yet completed any further training after high school yet, that's at this point. So your option is either you're working in a job that needs a high school certificate or not. So that's why that number looks a little bit higher. But what we're trying to see here is that people are moving into jobs that need those skills that they have. And I will just make the point that at 25, that's still quite young and early in their careers, and you'd expect those numbers to improve over time. And that's something we'll look to revisit down the track. Now, this slide, there's plenty to digest, and we will be sharing the links to this later. And it's a clickable chart for you guys to explore, and I recommend you all do. And what this chart is doing is I might just move to the next one so it's simpler and a bit easier to digest for us here. In the study, they asked everyone in it, so the 2,900 young people at 25, they asked them, how happy are you on a scale of 1 to 10 with, for example, the kind of work you do, and how happy are you on a scale of 1 to 10 with your opportunity to use your skills and experience? So that's the columns there that you see here. And what we've done is we've ranked them. So the higher the average, the higher the rank. So here, the kind of work you do, the most happy people on average are those who completed a postgraduate degree. So if you've finished a postgraduate degree or you've completed an apprenticeship or traineeship, on average, you're very, very happy with the kind of work you do, at least in comparison to the other pathways. So that's something I encourage you all to explore, so that there are some presumptions and assumptions we all have. And I think it's really worth exploring that just because you think something is a great thing to do doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy with it at the end of the day. And that's what we're all trying to do, is maximize how happy we are and also find that solid employment outcomes. So that's something I recommend you all explore later. The final thing we looked at was employment, the remuneration and the amount of hours people are working. So you can see here, this is weekly wages. That's the light blue bar. Based on your education and training pathway, how much you're earning a week at 25. And you can see here that someone who's completed an apprenticeship or traineeship is earning the most out of everyone, no matter what training pathway you've taken after school. That's the pathway that has delivered the most weekly wages, at least in the sample we studied. It's not a sample of everyone, I'll just make that point, but at least in the cohort we looked at, that was the outcome. You'll also notice that purple bar, and that's hourly amount of hours they work in a week. So on average, someone who completes that apprenticeship or traineeship might work a little bit more. There's a number of factors that could be driving that, but it's just interesting to point out that they're also earning more. So there's definitely a reward there for following that pathway. And I'm sure we'll unpack that further in the conversation this evening. There are a bunch of links in here, and we'll share the slides with you. I'm sure they'll send it to everyone at the end. And I'm now going to pass it over to Michael.
Thanks, Brett. That was really great information. I'm going to be hopefully talking to people tonight, and you'll get a better idea, better understanding about what VET is all about, what sort of opportunities there are for students in schools, and where you might be able to go to get some further information about the opportunities for young people at schools. Nationally accredited vocational education and training is what we call Big V VET. It can be recognised by three components that make it different to other education. Firstly, what is taught in Big V VET courses are the skills and knowledge required for employment as determined by the relevant industry. Successful completion of the study will lead to the award of a qualification, which is recognised by employers and other training providers nationally. Students in years 11 and 12 would usually study a course that would lead to a Certificate 2 or a Certificate 3 outcome. Secondly, Big V VET can only be delivered by nationally recognised registered training organisations. They're sometimes known as training providers. Examples of registered training organisations include the New South Wales Department of Education, your local community college, or TAFE New South Wales, just to mention a few. You can actually check whether a training provider is an approved provider on the National Register of VET, and we'll have that link available to you later on. The third thing is that Big V VET is assessed using a competency-based approach. You don't get marks. You are either determined to be competent or not. You can't be 70% competent. It's just like when you're doing the test to gain your driver's license. You either pass it or you don't. Although not unique to the VET teaching and learning methods used in VET, combine theory and practice in a hands-on approach, which is suited to all learners. What is taught is relevant to the workplace and develops in students a range of skills which are actually transferable to other employment settings. Things like communication skills, problem solving, teamwork, and adaptability. A fun fact, although associated with the delivery of VET primarily, did you know that TAFE New South Wales also delivers bachelor degrees? And whatever the industry, there's always a wide range of VET courses that will prepare students to undertake a range of occupations within that industry. And contrary to popular belief, the greatest number of VET courses are actually in the non-trade areas, including finance, health, sport and recreation, the creative industries, agriculture and the environmental management industry, just to name a few. I'd now like to move on to what sort of options there are for students at school to participate in VET. Most VET courses are delivered to students in years 11 and 12. However, some courses may also be available to students in years 9 and 10. There are actually three ways students can access VET whilst they're at school. They are school-delivered VET, which is where students undertake the course at school and is delivered by a VET-accredited school teacher. Secondly, a student can undertake a course with an approved registered training organisation through the department's externally delivered VET program. We call this program EVET. Training usually happens at the site of the registered training organisation, but may occur on the school site and may even happen online. Your school will know what courses are available locally under the EVET program. Finally, there are school-based apprenticeships and traineeships. We refer to these as SBATs. This program combines a VET qualification with paid employment. Students can commence an SBAT in years 10 or 11, and generally students will be on the job one day each week, plus do some work during the school vacation periods. They will also undertake their formal training with a training provider that has been chosen by the employer. All the courses undertaken as part of an SBAT count towards the HSC, and in some cases will even contribute to the ATAR. A great source of information is the department's Skills at School website. It contains information about all 3 programs and important information about the individual VET courses that are available. You can easily find this site by Googling Skills at School, New South Wales Department of Education. My colleague Robin Pemberton will talk more about Skills at School later in the presentation. There are 12 VET courses that can contribute to the ATAR. For a VET course to contribute to the ATAR, the student must undertake the optional HSC examination. A recent change to the ATAR calculation now means that more than one VET course can actually contribute to the ATAR. So a student could do 2 courses or 3 courses, and their HSC exam results can all contribute to the ATAR. The good thing is, if a student actually isn't interested in getting an ATAR, they can still do the course but don't need to do the exam. This might suit many students. There are also VET courses that don't contribute to the ATAR, but will lead to the award of a nationally recognised qualification and the HSC. Course information on the Skills at School website will tell you whether the course contributes to the ATAR or not. The next 2 slides will go on to talk about a couple of showcases for individual students and includes their pattern of study. Maya, our first student, is not quite sure about the career she wishes to follow. She's thinking about a career in construction or in the entertainment industry, but she definitely wants to go to university. By including 2 VET courses in her pattern of study that contribute to the ATAR, she's keeping her options open. Again, Leo is also exploring 2 different career options, the creative arts and sport and recreation. Leo's not fussed whether he gets into uni or not. By taking the 2 VET courses, he is also keeping his options open, and he may even be able to access a university place straight out of school by the fact that he has actually completed his Certificate 3 in business. That will depend upon the actual university. Another fun fact, Leo's pattern of study here actually allows him to get the HSC without having to do any HSC exams, but still gives him plenty of career options. Doing a VET course is a smart choice. It gives students the opportunity to explore their options, or if they know exactly what they want to do, it gives them the ability to get a head start in their career, or in the case of an SBAT, actually start their career whilst they're at school. Even if a student has a career pathway that is reliant on a university degree, doing a VET course while they're at school can actually provide the skills to get that student the all-important part-time job they might need to actually get them through uni. VET provides valuable options and gives students flexibility across their senior years of schooling and post-school. My final message is that there are many options, but not all options are available at every school. It's really important that students and parents should talk to their school about what options are available. I'm now going to hand over to Jared, who will talk about the importance of career planning. Thanks, Jared.
Thank you, Michael, for your presentation on VET. And as Michael just said, I'll be presenting on planning for success. Schools provide support to students so they can prepare their post-school transition. A key aspect of this preparation includes the development of a student pathways plan. Schools may use the one developed by the department, which is available to all students on the student portal, or schools develop similar pathways plans using resources to meet local needs. To support the process, students are asked to complete a student pathway survey. This survey will assist students with their thinking and planning for life through and beyond school, and will provide instantaneous personalised feedback when they've completed the survey. Prior to completing the Student Pathways Plan, students are encouraged to review the feedback report and identify actions that they can undertake. Students should discuss their feedback report with career influencers, such as their career transition advisors, teachers, parents, carers, and others. The career conversation will allow the students to identify the steps they can take whilst at school to meet the ambitions of their plan. In their pathways plans, students can provide more detail on work experience, part-time work, outside interests, and volunteering. This is a personal plan. The great thing is that students can change and update their student pathways plan as their circumstances change. Schools have a key role in building young persons' workplace engagement, including supporting young people to explore a range of careers and industry, and sparking and building young people's aspirations. The department has developed the models of workplace engagement, which describes the types of opportunities available to students. The first model creates elements of the workplace experience, but within the school. The second model involves individual block or flexible work experience with host employers, access to career markets, open days, and mock interviews. The third model focuses on guest speakers from industry, alumni, and vet ambassadors, shadowing employers, and programs to support students to re-engage in education. And the last model focuses on vet and includes work placement, access to SBATs, and demonstrating skills and competencies at events and functions. All young people benefit from workplace engagement. During work experience, students can observe a variety of work, usually in a field of their choice, and undertake supervised tasks appropriate to their knowledge and skill level. Work placement is a mandatory component of a range of the high school certificate vet courses. Students can observe a variety of work and develop industry-specific competencies, employability skills, and appropriate work attitudes. The workplace learning policy and procedure underpins these programs in all New South Wales public schools, and the policy and procedures are housed within the department's policy library. The procedure outlines the part that you play in each stage of the workplace learning program. You are asked to consider, comment, and provide permission for your young person to take up each planned work placement by signing the student placement record. The school principal or the vet manager, in consultation with the school, is responsible for the placement approval. The parent guide is a great source of information and provides additional details on all aspects of workplace learning, including processes to keep students safe. All students engaging in workplace learning are prepared prior to the opportunity. My Work Experience and Go to Work Placement are online programs which assist students to get the most out of their work experience or placement by identifying the skills they want to focus on during their time in the workplace. How can you engage in career conversations with your young person? There are 4 key principles. Let them lead. Listen to your child's opinions about the options and ask questions to help them make decisions. Letting them lead will help to keep your conversations positive. And if they are unable to answer your questions, remember there are lots of resources to help them and you. The Student Pathways Plan helps you explore the pathway your child would like to take. Engaging in the Student Pathways Plan during its development will assist them and you. Talk regularly. Try and make your child's interests, aspirations, and career ideas part of everyday conversations. The more you talk, the wider the range of things you can cover. This will make those big decisions about which subjects to study or which work, education, or training options to pursue much easier. Encourage independent research. Encourage your child to do their own research using the resources provided by the school or using those developed by the New South Wales and Commonwealth governments and made available online. If there is a specific career they're interested in, you can suggest that they find out about what education and training will be required. Their school may recommend specific resources. Online resources including My Future, Careers New South Wales and Skills New South Wales. These additional resources will be included after this presentation. And finally, share your experience. The choices you've made will be interesting and useful for your young person to know, whether you're currently in work, seeking work, have full-time caring responsibility, or studying. Your experience should provide insights into your career journey. You have empowered your child to be a critical thinker and problem solver. You have taught them negotiation skills and how to organise their reasoning. You should back their decisions. And now I'd like to hand over to Robin.
Thanks, Jared, for that excellent outline of how we support our students in terms of their career planning across our schools. We have a range of resources available on the New South Wales Department of Education website. So let's start there. We can start with the Parents and Carers Hub, which is full of guides, links, and useful information on a range of areas, including mental health and wellbeing and inclusive learning support. You can drill down a little further to the information that you're most interested in and find out about VET courses and pathways after school. So let's dive into the Skills at School site to explore options on developing work-related skills while still at school. Under the school-delivered VET courses, you can browse by industry sector and find out more about those transferable skills to be gained from studying VET courses and where they can take you post-school. Have you discovered Careers New South Wales yet? This site provides free access to career information, advice and guidance for all people living in New South Wales and at any stage of their professional journey. The Careers New South Wales site provides excellent resources, and it has specific resources targeted to young people, to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, women and people with a disability. Careers New South Wales provides practical tools and templates, including things like writing a CV and a cover letter. So very useful to our young people. So jump in and check that site out. You might be looking for information on post-school VET. So look no further than Skills New South Wales. You can find information here about VET courses, training providers, apprenticeships and traineeships, and careers, as well as how to access fee-free training and low-cost training options. Are you considering what post-school tertiary study options might be available? How about including TAFE New South Wales in that mix? As Michael already mentioned, TAFE New South Wales are also providing information and courses right up to degree level. So really think about TAFE New South Wales as an option. Their courses and their degrees can change lives and open up opportunities to learning. The website is a really good way to start exploring those options. So, are you still looking for quality, reliable, and up-to-date information? We've curated some really excellent websites that many of our schools use to support their students in their career and pathways planning. You can start with the National Careers Institute, hop over to My Future, and then down to Year 13. There are many other really good information sources online, and we're going to share those links with you following the session for you to explore. Thanks so much for your time this evening. Back to you, Liga, to introduce our very special guest for this evening.
so much, Robin. So we will now move into the Q&A component of our evening. Thank you, everyone, for your very interesting and informative presentations and the valuable information that you have shared so far with us this evening. I'd like to invite Jade to join me now. As I mentioned earlier, Jade is the New South Wales Training Awards Ambassador and 2022 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Student of the Year. Thank you for joining us, Jade, and for sharing your perspective with parents, carers and students. Jade, would you like to share with us what you're doing now and what you've been doing since leaving school?
Yep. So I won the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Student of the Year award in 2022, and then I also graduated that same month. Since then, I was offered early acceptance into my university, UAW, where I did my first year of primary teaching. Now I've transferred over into an arts degree doing Indigenous studies and which is my major, and then my minor is working with Indigenous communities. And then as well as that, I am a New South Wales Educational Pathways Program Ambassador. So I go into schools and kind of get to know what kids are passionate, what courses, like vet courses, kids are passionate about and how to kind of help them best explore it. And yeah, now I'm just here to answer some questions today.
That's fantastic. Thank you. How do we engage students from year 7 to think beyond high school to the real world?
Yep. So I think that in year 7, it's very easy to start the conversation. You just need to kind of get to know what they're passionate about. A lot of them, at least from my area, I'm from a small town, Jervis Bay, where it's very regional. So we know a lot of people who are tradies. We know a lot of people who went to TAFE. We know a lot of people who school wasn't for them and they didn't want to continue school. They never wanted to graduate. It wasn't something they were passionate about, but they still were passionate about education. And it's kind of like letting kids know, even in year 7 at a young age, that there are different types of education, especially when they're year 7 and year 8 and they don't want to sit in a classroom and they want to, get out there in the workforce already, even though they are very young, and they want to be learning by doing rather than just sitting there and trying to absorb the information. I kind of will talk about what is VET, so vocational education training, and what that can kind of lead to as they get older, and the pathways through school, how they can get there. So in year 10, we have work experience that they can do, which opens a pathway for what I did, which was an SBAT, which, doing work experience will then give you great you're building good relationships with the local community and businesses that you may want to go into business with one day in year 11 and 12. And then they think, oh, that's not that far. They see the seniors walking around school and they're thinking, oh my gosh, that's going to be me soon. I'm so excited. I'll be the big fish in the little pond rather than new and scared and having my big cousin order for me at the canteen. That kind of will make them a bit more ready to take on the world. And then we kind of talk about why it's so beneficial. For me, what I used to speak to my little cousins about when we were and yes, I was the big cousin who had to order for them at the canteen, but I was speaking to them about I'm only here 4 days a week. And they're oh, that's so unfair. No, because I work that 1 day a week. And while I'm working, I'm gaining money and a qualification. And then they're kind of oh, that's so unfair, you get to that and we don't. And I'm okay, cool. So think about a way that you can sign up for this. And then what are you passionate about? Because it's 2 years of your life. For me, it was year 11 and year 12. So it's kind of making them think about what they're passionate about and how they'll go into that if that's something they want.
Yeah. And what things did you consider when you decided to undertake a VET pathway? Was that a difficult decision for you? And who did you go to get some help with that?
I think I was extremely lucky with deciding to take on VET. I was approached by my career advisor at my school, who came up to me and was hey, your local council is offering 5 SBATs, and we want you to take on one of them. We think you'd be amazing. It's for a Cert 2 in business. Is that something you want to do? And I was kind of in my mind, I business, why would I want to do that? I've always wanted to be a primary school teacher or work with grassroots Indigenous communities. But she kind of explained to me what it is and that it's not just business, that it's me going into school 4 days a week and learning that 1 day a week And I kind of just considered like, is it beneficial and how is it beneficial to me? And I was very lucky to just have the good like relationship with all my teachers, where like one day of school that I did miss, I could just be like, hey, like I wasn't here yesterday, can you give me the homework, or can you like give me a debrief on what happened? And it was a very easy transition from 5 days a week to 4 days a week. Sorry, I think you're still on mute.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Now that you're several years out of school, how do you think choosing vet subjects benefited you in your chosen pathway and career?
It's all about those transferable skills that I'm building, that I was building, and I guess I use now that I'm out of school. But yes, like I learned how to write emails like efficiently and effectively. I was learning, which I don't really need in high school, but I mean at university. Feels like I'm still there. But I kind of learned how to write policies and procedures and how to talk to people who were older than me and kind of carry myself with more confidence. Before my SBAT, I was very like shy and timid, and I didn't really want to speak up. During my SBAT, I learned like how to be confident, how to protect my like voice, and all those transferable skills I learned, like how to communicate, how to kind of write documents that I need as like an adult now in everyday life. I can carry them on through life, and I know that I'm very lucky to have done that in high school. And now when people are trying to figure that out at uni or just like in like their work lives day to day, I have the handling on it already because I was taught by people who have been out of school for 10 to 20 years, the people I was working with, and they kind of were just like, oh, that's easy, like just do this. And they already had like the tips and tricks where like I was in high school, got all the easy like tips and tricks, and now I can just get on with it very easy. But yeah.
So much for joining us, Jade, and for providing an opportunity for us to gain that insight. I'd like to welcome back our presenters now so that we can respond to some of our participant questions. The first one I'll throw to you, Brett. What are industry and employers doing to attract school leavers into taking up apprenticeships and traineeships?
A great question. It's something we've been working on and constantly tweaking and trying to do better. So the big thing we're trying to do at the moment is raise awareness. So something that Jade's doing quite well, but raise awareness of the opportunities and benefits of vet, and particularly the benefits of apprenticeships and traineeships. So this research piece we did is highlighting just that as well. But we're also working on other things. We're doing a pilot project around the country for various advanced and degree apprenticeships. And these are new types of vet training qualifications that also provide a pathway to university, bridging that gap so that there's not this artificial divide that we talk about in education and training policy. So we're doing lots of things to try and make it easier and simpler for people to move through the system and also get the skills and have the experiences that they want. Another key element we're also trying to raise awareness about, another thing that Jade touched on quite well, was by participating in the vet system, a lot of the time, if you're signing up for an apprenticeship or traineeship, that's an employment contract. So from the day dot, you're employed while you learn. You're not accumulating a debt, you're earning and you're learning. So that part of the story, I feel, and we feel, is probably undersold and underexplained. And so that's a real benefit that we're trying to raise awareness about as well.
Yes. And second question, my child is currently in year 11. Can they commence a vet course now, or is it too late?
Really good question, Liga. I'll take that one. We know that this happens, very, very often. Young people make decisions about subject selections and start that course in year 11, and it might not be for them. A student really needs to, I guess, ensure that they speak to the school to find out first whether the course that they're wanting to do is available at the school through either school delivered vet or through our externally delivered vet program. So that's really important. They also need to kind of consider that if it is available and they are able to change into a vet course now in beginning of term 2 year 11, that there will be a requirement to catch up on course content that already already has been delivered, as well as undertake any assessment that may have already taken place. So there's a little bit of responsibility there as well in relation to that, but best advice is to speak directly with your school to see whether that is possible, as term 2 is still getting later in the year for year 11 course commencement.
Thank you. And we have a question from someone in a rural area now. What if the vet courses my child wants to do are not available at our high school?
Thanks, Lega. Look, one of the things that I'd like to start off with is actually saying that in rural New South Wales, there's a higher proportion of students undertaking vet courses than there currently are in metropolitan Sydney. And that there are a lot of options for students in those rural areas, particularly in vet. But still, I think, as I mentioned in my presentation, not all schools are able to offer all courses. And so we have the option under our externally delivered vet program that potentially if a course is not available at school, it may also be available at the local TAFE. And our TAFE New South Wales colleagues actually also offer a range of courses which are delivered in a virtual mode, which actually means the students are in a virtual classroom. The teacher might be somewhere else, but they're actually able to connect with students from right across New South Wales into these classes. And these are great options for a number of students. Our Skills at School website says a lot more about how these courses operate, and as well as the TAFE options for virtual delivery, there are also a number of vet courses which are offered through the department's distance education centres. So again, if they're not available at your school, you should talk to your school careers advisor about the possibility of undertaking a vet course through distance education. So there are a couple of the other options that are available for students in rural areas where the school is not able to provide courses that actually find the interests of the student. The other thing that I would say about this too is that many courses, if a particular course is not available, there may be something similar in the same industry area. And as Jade was saying, if you can develop a range of transferable skills, like she was talking about, by undertaking a vet course, even though that course may not be exactly what you're thinking about at the moment, doing that vet course can help you get the job that you're looking for post-school.
Thanks, Michael. This next one relates to provisions for students. Are there any adjustments or provisions for students with disabilities such as high-functioning autism in vet or vocational courses?
Thanks. I'll take that one as well, Liga. So what we can say here is that if a student is undertaking a vet course, whether it's with the school RTO or whether it's with TAFE or another registered training organisation through our EVET program, there is an obligation on those education providers to make adjustments for students to ensure that a student with a disability can participate in a course at the same level as students who do not have a disability. And there are many different adjustments that can be made depending upon the nature of the student's situation, whether it be a physical disability, whether it be a cognitive disability, or whether it is a disability such as autism. So there are a range of adjustments a school or a TAFE can make. But one of the things that I would like to just emphasize here is that in making those adjustments, it's about ensuring the student can participate in the course. It's not about changing the standard of assessment that happens. As I mentioned earlier in my presentation, vet courses are all about competency. The school or the TAFE will work to ensure that the adjustments are in place to help the student actually participate in the course, but the student will still have to demonstrate the same level of competency as a student without a disability. So it's really important to make that particular distinction. The other thing that I can mention too is in the planning, it's really important that there is great planning occurring with the student, with the family about the appropriate courses. And in fact, there are many courses which are really highly suited to students. Some students with autism, for example, might find it really down their alley to be able to participate in an information technology course, for example, because a lot of I think it's important to actually look at not just the student's disability, but what are their abilities, and working with the families and the students about what their abilities are can help plan or match the right course to the student.
Yeah, that's a very great point. Thank you for that. This next one will be for you, Brett. How could vet at school benefit my kids when they go into the workforce?
Great question. And I feel like Jade also will be excellent to answer this question. So the transferable skills is something that I think is very important. But what we hear a lot and we see a lot in the data and in our discussions with employers is that job readiness, positive attitudes, willingness to learn are all very, very important for employability, especially for young people. And I think by participating in VET, those programs really help speed up that process of getting young people ready with those skills, that willingness to learn, that ability to write those emails, talk to an adult, use their voice. All those things are really important for employers. And I feel the VET system, particularly the earlier the better, really it helps expedite that. So from the employer's perspective, those VET skills are highly valued, and parents and carers and young people should all be exploring how to get a hold of them, no matter where they are on their journey.
Brad, you have your hand up. Did you want to add to that?
Mute.
Yeah, sorry. I was just, oh my goodness. There's when you do your vet course as like an SBAT or EVET or IVET. So IVET is internal and EVET's external, so the ones that school delivers. But you'll graduate with your Cert 2 or your Cert 3 or whatever your school is kind of offering, or whatever your SBAT is kind of giving you. You graduate with your certificate, but then there's also your record of prior learning, which I don't think we've touched on. But what that is for me, gaining my Cert 2 in business, I could then go into my a Cert 2 in or a Cert 4 in business, and it would only take around 6 months to finish that instead of 12 months, because some things would automatically be ticked off because it would show that I've already finished my Cert 2. Even if I didn't do a Cert 2 in business and did something completely different, it would still tick off some of the kind of modules that you need for a different course. And then there's also things that if you do a vet course, again, you're kind of connecting with a company or connecting with people who want workers. A lot of the time, if they're employing you as an SBAT, they're going to employ you after school if you've met their expectations or exceeded them. And for me, after I graduated high school, my rep Aboriginal Community Council, who I was working with for my SBAT, offered me full-time employment. And I also got job offers from a few other companies in the area because of my SBAT, because of my qualification. When you graduate high school, you graduate with your HSC, you graduate with your high school certificate, but you're also graduating, for me, for my Cert 2 in business. So you're graduating with that extra qualification. It kind of puts you above the rest of the graduating class. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
Excellent, thank you. Now, does gaining a vet qualification at school give advanced standing or credit to a future university or other vet course after school? Who would like to take that one?
Oh, look, I think Jade really has really nailed it in terms of what the benefits of recognition of prior learning are. I think the only thing that I'd just like to add to what Jade mentioned is that the TAFE New South Wales website, which Robin showcased a little bit earlier in her presentation, has a section which actually outlines for every university, for where universities provide RPL or advanced standing for students who've completed a VET qualification. There is a list which identifies each university degree, delivered by which university, and what the actual standing a student who completes a particular qualification gets. We'll add that link, and hopefully we'll be able to distribute that to people who are here, but that's a really good source of information to find out exactly what credit you will get at university for courses that are completed through the VET system.
Awesome. Now, what if my Year 11 child does not know what they want to do?
Liga, I'll take that one. There are dedicated roles within and around schools that can provide your child with support. They can seek assistance from their year advisor or coordinator, career advisor, or the subject teacher, who will connect them with the right person. This person may be the transition advisor, support teacher transition, pathways engagement officer, SBAT officer, or even an SBAT engagement officer. And there are other roles, and the school will be able to point them in the right direction. Robin has included a range of resources that will assist your young person explore careers and their transition planning. She's also included the link to the department web pages that will support you to engage in career conversations with your young person to get them on the right track.
Right, thank you. And we've got a question about the available opportunities and pathways for work experience for high school students.
Liga, I'll also take that one. As mentioned previously, the policy and procedures provides direction and guidance on organising and running work placement within the department. The key aspects for parents and carers are probably these few points. Students can participate in workplace learning from the age of 14. Years 9 and 10 workplace learning programs operate during the school term as part of that process. Workplace learning may be extended into the weekend with special approval from the school. And in exceptional circumstances, the principal may approve workplace learning for individual year 11 and 12 students during the school holidays. But this doesn't include the December, January school holidays. It's important to note that the department's policy has a list of activities that are prohibited, and we'll provide a link after this presentation. It's important for parents and carers to be aware of those activities and those that require special consideration as part of that. But for the most part, students can engage in work experience opportunities from a number of industries, from almost all the industries as part of that process. And it's an opportunity for them to engage with their career advisor and seek further advice. And currently the department's developing a range of tailored work experience programs to support students with disability and Aboriginal students. So keep your eyes out for those once they're announced. Thanks, Liga.
Right, great, thank you very much. And can students participate in out-of-school learning or vocational training activities, a hybrid system?
Liga, I'll take that one as well. The students can participate in vocational education and training courses outside of their schooling. I think the important thing to understand, however, is that if they do that, they will have to actually pay the full course fee. Generally, we have a situation in New South Wales where there's a program called Smart and Skilled for students who have left school, and that subsidises the training or the cost of the courses that a person might undertake. However, if a student is still at school, they're not eligible for the for that funding, and so accordingly, if they do enrol and they're accepted into a particular vet course out of school, maybe they might look at doing a welding course at night or something like that, then they would have to pay the full course fee, which would generally be in the thousands of dollars. And considering that most courses that are offered at the local TAFE campus are actually also offered through the EVET program, which students can access as part of their schooling at no cost. There's a lot of good reasons why a student and a family should really look at undertaking their vet courses within the school setting.
Selective high schools offer vet subjects and programs.
Liga, I'll take that one. All of our schools across the government system determine individually what courses they offer. In our system, in the government setting, we have fully selective and partially selective high schools. Our partially selective high schools may offer a range of vet courses as they have a broader and more diverse student body. However, best advice is to always go and check with the school to determine what their current and also what their future curriculum planning looks like.
Thank you for that. And Brett, I'll throw the last question to you. Your recommendations regarding researching jobs and industries to students unsure about post-school pathways.
All right, I'll be very quick, conscious of time. Follow those links that Robin shared. She had a full gamut of things to look for and things to read. So I think that's a great place to start. From an employer's perspective, a lot of businesses and industry groups are constantly attending career expos. We're constantly trying to get the message out and meet everyone. So we've got a GTO, which is a group training organization, and we're often out there meeting young people, meeting parents and showing them the different things we do. So I recommend everyone get out there, meet the businesses. They're trying to find you, but go out and meet them and make those connections.
Thank you so much. Well, this webinar has enlightened us all about the role of vet subjects and the variety of pathway options in schools. Our heartfelt gratitude extends to our speakers for their invaluable insight. Brett Crossley, Michael Clancy, Jared Delaney, Robin Pemberton and Jade Barrington. Your expertise is so helpful in getting our students the skills they need to thrive in this rapidly changing world. And it's so great to hear from those with lived experience in vocational education and training. You will all receive an email with a recording of this webinar and links to news articles, as well as various resources in the next few days. We would appreciate your feedback on tonight's webinar. You can give us this feedback via a survey link, which will appear in a moment. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Good night and enjoy the rest of your night.